and thank you for the invite to participate in this learning experience. And we must say we in the first month end, towards the first month end of the lockdown. So the after effects on the finances will be felt from the beginning of this month. Our national state of disaster was declared mid-March, and the lockdown began towards the end of March. So April is really the first month where the municipality will be feeling the effects of this financial meltdown. But what I can tell you, we're monitoring the collections on a daily basis, and we are almost like 4 to 5% down on the collections. We're expecting May to be worse. I'm expecting June to be worse than this month, and May to be worse as well. But we think we'll cope. We are led by National on the response to COVID, which is very, very positive. And I must say, the leadership of President Ramaphosa has been very solid and very decisive when it comes to COVID. So we're dividing it into certain pillars, and I want to rush through them quickly because our fiscal response will be based on especially the expenditure. One, we call it the public health response, what we do in our clinics, what we procure, what we purchase. So we'll be purchasing things like PPEs, masks, gloves, test kits, to augment what the province and national are doing, because our city, in terms of numbers of infection, we have the highest in our province, and our province got the highest in the country. So we are an epicenter of COVID as it relates to our province being Gauteng. The second pillar we focus on is called the food security interventions. People are not going to work, people are hungry, so we are spending about we're spending about 1,000 rands per person for a month. But today we're discussing that that should extend to 2 months for food security for those families that cannot afford and do not have anything to eat. So you can imagine that now we're diverting expenditure from what we normally spend on. We're reprioritizing our budget to spend on food security. Then there's law enforcement. I won't go into much because people simply do not comply to the regulations, the lockdowns of staying home. So some of our resources are going towards increasing capacity in that regard. The economic impact is very, very important for us to look at. As David was saying earlier, that the cities won't be the same. In fact, I've got a team working now, and their mandate is to look at the post-COVID, post-pandemic Johannesburg. What would it look like? So it's social scientists, political scientists, and economists looking at what Johannesburg would look like. What do we need to do differently? How the tax base is going to be changing. So we're looking at that. I'm leading that team that's reporting to me. And lastly, we're looking at something called social solidarity. How do we work with communities in distress? Our president frames it in a very nice way that the after effects of COVID pandemic will be like a post-war rebuilding of a city. So if you think about a city post-war, that's how we're thinking about Johannesburg, and that's how we're looking at it. Now, critical amongst all this is the continuation of basic municipal services. Water must still be delivered, electricity must be delivered, roads must still be tarred, potholes. So, given that now the fiscal envelope is constrained, we are having to reduce some of these services. And remember, the more people get into poverty and become poor, the more social services we have to give, but you need a bigger envelope to doing that. As we speak, some businesses are not operating. I think Deputy Minister Tau would have said that there are packages nationally that will help businesses. People are coming to us for packages, for saying, look, what do you do for us, because now we are under distress. We're looking at spreading some of the payment terms that we have. We're looking at some holidays, but we're still working with SALGA and National in order to do that. As I conclude, COVID is going to make people poorer. People are going to lose jobs. There's going to be devastation, economic devastation. Some businesses are going to close. So therefore, the tax base nationally means going to shrink a bit. It means the intergovernmental transfers, taxes that are paid to municipalities, grants that are paid to municipalities are going to reduce. And therefore, the budget of a big city like Johannesburg will have to be looked at. As I said, the social base would have increased. So we're looking ahead to tough times, and I think sharing experiences like we're doing now will be helpful to a city like Johannesburg. Colleagues and Jean-Francois, thank you very much, Amelia, and for organizing this. I'm really enjoying the conversations that I'm hearing now. Thank you very much.